Hi everyone, Anthony here. Welcome back to this series about getting started with Dorico SE, Steinberg's free music notation software. In this video, we're going to create our first project together, choose an instrument, and start to input some music. So let's get started. The first thing that you see when you run Dorico is the Steinberg Hub. The Hub gives you everything you need to start a new project, open an existing one, or learn about Dorico via links to recent items from the Dorico blog website and YouTube tutorial videos. In the middle here is a list of your recent projects, and you can start a new blank project from scratch by pressing this button. There are also a few templates to get you started, and that's what we'll do today. Let's click on the solo category, choose Solo Piano, then click the New from Template button. In the last video, we looked at the different modes that Dorico is arranged into. When you start a new project from a template, it opens directly in write mode, which is where we want to be to start writing music. Dorico gives you a completely blank canvas to start with, giving you total freedom with your composition. All that's here is this fresh piano staff. Let's start by adding a few common notations to set up our score. Open the Notations panel by clicking on any of the toolbox buttons. For example, clicking the Clefs button shows us the Clefs panel. We don't need to change anything here because we have a piano grand staff all ready for us with treble and bass clef staves. So let's click the next button down, which is for key signatures. Press these buttons to spin through the different keys. The up button cycles through sharp keys and the down button takes us back through to the flat keys. I'm going to choose G major, and because nothing is selected in the music, when I click the button, my mouse pointer is now carrying the key signature, and I can simply click where I want it to take effect. The next category is time signatures. There are lots of commonly used time signatures to choose from, but you can also create your own using the controls further down the panel here. This time, let's select this rest at the beginning of the score. And now when I choose a time signature from the panel, let's go with 4/4, it is immediately input where I select it. So just to recap that, if you have a selection in the score, then whenever you click on something in one of the notes or notation panels, it will be input at that point. If you don't have anything selected, then the notation is loaded onto your mouse pointer, ready for you to click it into the score. The tempo panel has several predefined tempos for you to use, with the commonly seen Italian terms associated with them included. However, I'm going to use the controls at the top of the panel to tap out the tempo I would like. Simply tap this big button at regular intervals, and Dorico will calculate the tempo for you. Use the spin box to tweak it if necessary, and click Create. The last thing I'm going to do now is add a few bars using the Bars and Bar Lines panel. Let's add them to the end. To input notes with your mouse, it's now as easy as selecting a note value in the Notes panel and then clicking in the score. The grey ghost note head will indicate the pitch that will be written. Choose different note durations to make rhythms. Dorico has musical intelligence built in, meaning that it knows when a note, such as a half note or minim, should be written as one, and when actually it should be written as, say, a quarter note tied to a quarter note. This means you only have to worry about inputting the rhythm you want, and Dorico will ensure it is notated correctly and clearly. You don't need to input rests. The orange grid that appears above the staff helps you input notes wherever you like. Press Escape or Return to exit note input. You can also input notes using your computer keyboard. You can start note input by double-clicking on the staff or with the key command Shift-N. This orange line that we call the caret indicates where any note using your keyboard will be input, and you can move the caret using the arrow keys. Move it back and forwards using the left and right arrow keys, and even move it to different staves by using the up and down arrow keys. Choose your note duration either by clicking with the mouse in the panel or by using the number keys along the top of the keyboard. Use 6 for a quarter note or crotchet,
and smaller numbers for shorter durations, so 5 for an eighth note or quaver, 4 for a 16th note or semiquaver, and so on, and larger numbers for longer durations, 7 for a half note or minim, 8 for a whole note or semibreve. Then use the letter keys A to G to input that pitch. Again, there's no need to input rests. Simply move the caret to the desired position either with the arrow keys, as I mentioned, or by pressing space, which advances the caret by the currently selected duration. Personally, I much prefer to enter notes using the computer keyboard to the mouse. I found that almost immediately I became much quicker at entering notes this way. There was a smaller chance that I would click in the wrong place, and there are many other benefits, such as not having to add additional bars as you go. When entering notes with the keyboard, Dorico will automatically lengthen the score as you reach the end.
Now, if you can play the piano and have access to a MIDI keyboard, you can use it to record music directly into Dorico as you play. Connect the MIDI keyboard to your computer's USB port using the manufacturer's instructions, and check to see that Dorico is receiving MIDI messages by this green indicator that lights up when you press keys on the keyboard.
You can input notes using the MIDI keyboard in the same way as entering with your computer keyboard, one note at a time, but with the added benefit of always getting the correct octave and being able to input chords by playing them. But you can also input music in real time by playing along with a metronome click. There are a couple of things to set up before you start that will save you time in the long run, so let's just take a very quick look at those. I'm going to open the Preferences dialog found in the Edit menu on Windows and the Dorico menu here on Mac, and switch to the Play page. We need to open the Quantization options, which is what Dorico uses to work out how best to notate the rhythms you play during real-time recording. Here I want to tell Dorico which note duration is likely to be the shortest that I play. In other words, if I know I'm not going to be recording anything shorter than a quarter note, then I should select that here. I'm actually planning to play all eighth notes with my right hand, so I'll choose the eighth note. I also know I'm not going to be playing any tuplets, so I'll make sure they're switched off. Don't worry too much, as you do have the option to requantize any portion of your recording with new settings at any point later on. The other thing I am going to set, and again this is really only if you know what you're going to be playing, is the split point, which Dorico uses to determine which notes are written to the upper staff and which are written to the lower staff. Middle C is MIDI note number 60, but as I know I'm intending to play a little lower than middle C with my right hand, I'm going to reduce this number a little. Great, I'll apply and close the dialog, and I'll just select the notes I've been entering by dragging a marquee around them and pressing delete to remove them. And I'm going to add more bars, because even when recording, Dorico will stop when it reaches the end of the score. I'm now going to click in the piano staff to select it at the point that I would like to start recording, so that's at the beginning for me. It doesn't matter which mode you're in to record. However, in play mode, you do get some instant feedback, seeing the notes you play appearing in the piano roll editor. So for now, I'm going to switch to play mode. And when I press record in the toolbar, Dorico is going to give me a whole bar count-in of metronome clicks before we start recording. Now, when we switch back to write mode, we can see the music I just recorded, rendered beautifully by Dorico, quantized just how we want it, and ready to work with.
So that's how you start inputting music into a new project in Dorico SE. Next time, we'll add a second instrument, maybe a vocal line with some lyrics. and have a look at choosing some different sounds to play back with. If you found this video useful, which I hope you have, please hit the like button below and do leave a comment if you have any questions. I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.